Hello. Let me grab something. Okay, now I'm ready. All right, so good morning. It is Monday, April 6th, and this is your math lesson for the day. So we are working on lesson 7-2, and that's pages 201. And if you would flip that over, if it's copied front to back, the back would be 202. It's probably two separate pages, maybe for some of you who printed it at home. So pages 201 and 202. You'll want to grab those. You won't need them right away, but we are going to go over a few of them together. So you can hit pause anytime on this video. That's right. You guys have the remote now. You can pause me. So you can hit pause and you can go get those papers and a pencil and come back, and you won't need it right away, but we're going to move into that worksheet here soon. All right, so for some of you, this will be a review. For some of you that were sick that last week of school, you missed this lesson, but you guys did work with clocks and telling time a little bit these past few weeks. So hopefully this will be a good review, or if you were struggling with anything, hopefully that will help clarify some things. But remember, if you guys are struggling with anything and you need help with something, just get on class tag and have your parents send me a message, and I can set up a Zoom for just you and I to work through whatever problem you're having with your work, okay? So that's always an option. All right, so we are working on telling time. So to tell the time, we need a clock. So there are two different kinds of clocks, and this is what one of them looks like. And if you're really good listeners with really good memory, you will remember that this is an analog clock. So an analog clock has hands, and it has numbers and dots, and we're going to learn how to read the time on an analog clock. So the other kind of clock is a clock that you are probably more familiar with. That's the clock that's in like that rectangular speaker box in our classroom. And that's called a digital clock, and we have those in the hallway too. As you walk down the hallways, there's clocks kind of hanging out from the wall in the hallway. So then we have a digital clock, and the digital clock just goes ahead and tells us the hour, and then it tells us the minutes. So we're going to be working with learning how to read and move and understand these hands so that we can display the time and read the time on the analog clock, and then we'll be able to transfer it to a digital clock. So let's talk about the analog clock for a little bit. So an analog clock has two hands, so you'll see that this is the long blue hand, and that's the minute hand. And on my clock, this is a clock that helps me teach. So the blue hand points to the blue numbers and dots, and that's the minute hand. And then the short hour hand is red, and you guessed it, it points to the red numbers to tell us the hour. Okay, so some things we need to know to help us tell the time. So if you can see up here, the biggest number on the clock is a 60, okay? And that's the smaller number in blue. So what that represents is that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour, okay? And that's the blue hand. So when this blue hand gets up to 60, that stands for the words o'clock, okay? Like right now, this is 3 o'clock, okay? And when you write that on a digital clock, you never use the number 60. You go to 00 for a new hour. So if this is 3 o'clock, because my hour hand is pointing to the 3, and my long minute hand is up at this 12, but really pointing at the 60, we need to remember that it went from 2:59. So the next minute would be 60 minutes, but I can guarantee that you have never seen a clock that says 2:60, okay? So after 2:59, we go to a new hour and our minutes change to 00. So it would look like this on a digital clock. 3, then these 2 dots, and a 00. Okay, so we never use that 60. And on some analog clocks, you won't even see these numbers here, but you will always see the numbers 1 through 12, okay? So if you were at school that last week, I was able to give everyone a little one of these, and that really helped us practice. So I'm gonna see if I can upload a version that you could print and use at home if you're able to print. If you're not able to print, you could even just make one out of paper. Just cut a circle out and number it, and then make a short hand that's red and a long hand that's blue, okay? So I know that's not ideal, but we're working with what we got here. So we'll try our best. So this can get tricky to remember which hand is which. So I have a little trick to help us with that. I don't know how well you can see this. So the long blue hand on my clock, it's always blue, is the minute hand. And if you can see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 letters in the word minute. But if you look at the word hour, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 letters. So I like to think and remember that the word minute is a long word. So the long hand is the minute hand because it's a long word. And then when I see the shorthand, I think, oh yeah, the word hour is a short word. So the shorthand means it's pointing to the hour. So hopefully that will help you. I'm going to do a few examples on my clock, and then we're going to work through a few here. And if you need to rewatch the video, you can. If you have questions, ask your family members and see if they can help you. And like I said, you can always let me know if you need to Zoom, and I can help you out too, okay? All right, so we did this one earlier. It's 3 o'clock, and when it's a new hour, o'clock, it's always up here at the 12. For this clock, it shows that 60 minutes in an hour, okay? So I'm going to go real fast. Oops, maybe real fast. Okay, so looking at this clock, we would have to figure out the time. So to do that, you have to remember which one is my hour hand and which one is my shorthand. So if you're using my trick, remember minute is a long word, so it's the long hand, and hour is a short word, so it's the shorthand. So we're going to start with the shorthand. My red shorthand is the hour hand, and it is pointing to the 11. So it is 11. And then we're going to look at the blue hand, and it's straight up at the 12. It hasn't come over here to the 1 yet. So what comes before 1? 0. So that's where we would put our 0, 0, and this would be 11 o'clock. Okay, 11 o'clock. So let me do one more. I'm not going to show you this time, because I know how smart you all are. You'll know it right away. Okay, here we go. So to check the time for this one, we're going to look at that short hour hand and see that it's pointing at the 4. Okay, so we know it's 4. Then we have to check the minutes. So we check the long minute hand. It's up at this 12, which also means that it's already gone all the way around the clock an hour has finished and a new hour is starting, it's not at the 1 yet. So what comes before 1? 0. So that's where we would put that 0, 0. So this would be 4 o'clock. Okay? Now, let me give you one and see if you can guess it. All right, let's see. Here you go. What time is it? So check your short hour hand and check your long minute hand. I'll give you some time. Do 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 do. How many of you sang with me? Do you miss hearing that every day? I do. Okay, anyway, I bet that all your smart brains told me that it was 8 o'clock, and you are correct, okay? So let's move to our worksheet, and we'll work through a few of those, and then you can try the rest of them on your own. Remember, you have your family to help you, and you can always let me know if you need help, okay? Don't want you guys, I know you're missing me, but I don't want you to feel like we're not here for you, okay? Because we are. We're going to get through it. All right, here we go. I am going to use a blue and a red just to help you, okay? I forgot to put the hands on here. I think they were already on yours, but that's okay. I know what time they are, so I'll draw them. So just work with me. Okay, so number 1, they actually have done for you. So same thing as when we were looking at this, but now the clock for number 1 looks like this. Okay, you can see that bigger there. So your short hour hand is at the 2. So the hour is 2. And this long minute hand is at the 12, which means we're started a new hour and we don't have any minutes yet. So we're gonna put 0, 0. So that is what 2 o'clock looks like on a digital clock. Now, pop quiz. Are you ready? Okay. Some of you should know this, and some of you knew it last time, okay? We'll see. These 2 little dots that separate the hour from the minute. 2 little dots. They're 2 dots together. What are they called? What do we call that symbol? Can you remember? I hope you can. If not, I'll give you a hint. It starts with a C, so it starts with K. What could it be? Oh, is it on the tip of your tongue? Or you have no idea. Or you're just like, yep, I know it. Okay, well, you technically don't have to know that, but you definitely should. So that's called a colon. So say that, colon. That's a colon, okay? I'll ask you about that tomorrow. Let's see if you remember. Okay, so number 1, it was 2 o'clock. So looking at number 3, you should see the long minute hand up to the 12 and your short hour hand at the 3. That's what you should see on your worksheet. So to tell the time, you need to start with the hour hand. So we're going to remember the word hour is short. So the short hand is the hour hand. So that's pointing at the 3. So here in our digital clock, we're going to put a 3 on the left side of the colon. And then we're going to figure out the minutes. So the long minute hand, because remember the word minute is long, it's all the way up at the 12. So it hasn't started yet, but this other hour just finished. So we have a new hour, and our minutes are 0, 0. And how we read that on the digital clock is 3 o'clock. Okay? All right, let's move to number 3. You guys are doing great. So, you should see your long minute hand at the 12 and your short hour hand at the 9. And it should look like that. Okay? So, where are we going to start? We're going to start with the short hour hand. You're looking at the red one, and it is pointing to 9. So, you guessed it, we're putting a 9 here to the left of the colon. Good. And then we're going to look at the blue hand, which is the long minute hand. And it's all the way up there at that 12, so that tells us it's a new hour. There aren't any minutes yet. So that's going to be 0, 0, which means the time is 9 o'clock. All right, so I need you to finish the front of this page and then the next page, 202. And that's your math lesson for the day. If you have any questions, again, ask your family members because they're right there with you. And if you still need help, or if you just have other questions about telling time or math, just let me know and we'll set up a Zoom. So I know you're going to do great on this. I can't wait to see your work later this week. Bye.